Hey there. Although I am involved with CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada, the views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the participants and do not reflect those of CADAC. And now, cue the music.
This is the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, a show for high-achieving ADHD entrepreneurs. Together, we will inform and educate you about how to improve your self-awareness while developing systems, routines, and habits for conquering the entrepreneurial world. Here is your host, Andre Brisson.
Hey there, it's Andre here with another short for the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, the podcast for the high-achieving ADHD entrepreneur. This episode is brought to you by CADAC, the Center of ADHD Awareness Canada. You can get more information and you can donate at www.caddac.ca. I just wanted to share something with you. I was reading Peter Shankman's Faster Than Normal book, and something in there that really hit me is the subtitle in the section is Moderation, we don't have it. And I completely agree. And I started laughing and observing past stuff. And it's true. It doesn't exist in our brains. It's either all or nothing. Anything in between, it's challenging. It's just either we're all in or we're all out. And this affects our self-restraint, self-control, avoidance of extreme. That's what moderation is, the definition of moderation is. Self-restraint, self-control, avoidance of extremes. And if you're an ADHD entrepreneur, I know you're going, extremes for sure. Extreme nothing, extreme all in. Now, the in-between is the difficult part. Now, where this becomes a really big challenge, ADHD brains are also an addictive brain. So when it comes to food, alcohol, drugs, work, and even hobbies, it's hard for us to be in moderation because either we're not doing it or we're doing it in all the time. And I've noticed that with food for me and alcohol, it's very hard. I don't tend to drink alcohol a lot, but when I drink, I drink. It's very hard to say if there's alcohol available, I'm going to keep having some more. But if I only got 2 drinks physically near me, after 2, I'm okay with it because there's nothing available. So having the moderation, it almost has to be forced. In that case, only having 2 drinks around me that I can't get more, that's my extreme. All in is I just have the 2. And food for me is very bad. It's very hard for me to say I'm only going to eat a little bit of this. Having food available all around me is very addictive. Emotional eating is another problem. But again, food, alcohol, all this type of stuff, moderation is very tough for our brains. Remember, our brains is all about interest. And when you finally get that interest and you get into hyper-focus mode, it's all in, or you really want to get something going, it's all in. Even if it's something you don't want to do, sometimes you can get yourself to hyper-focus and just get it done. All in, not doing it half-assed. Based on all that, it's very negative connotations we're talking about here about alcohol, drugs, and all that, but I also start to reflect and notice that, I have been moderating my tasks, projects into smaller stages and steps so I can be all in and get that smaller step done. So a lot of challenge that we have, we just want to get a project done now, all in, full bore, head down, ass up, and get it done. But if it's a 2-month project, that kind of scares us. If you have the ability to spend 2 months on a project and get that done, kudos, that's awesome. But the majority of us, we can't. We got to break it, it's a 2-month project. How do we do it? We want to tackle it all at once, and we keep procrastinating, delaying our start time because we didn't chunk it down. So in that way, what I noticed is I've been moderating my attention and moderating my tasks into smaller chunks so that I can be all in for that little small piece. So I'm all in, hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, then I'm done. That little chunk. But I need someone else to help me with that. So if you've got an executive assistant, a virtual assistant, if they can help you chunk it out, like a lot of us, we're poor planners. Our brain is just not wired that way. Maybe cognitively, we just don't have that ability. Some of us do fantastic plan it, execute it. A lot of us can't. And make sure to understand, if you can't, stop trying because you're going to waste a lot of time and frustration. So sit down with someone, say, I want to do this project. I want it done in 2 months. They come back and say, well, you need this to do this, and chunk it down for you. So you got smaller steps. To me, that's moderating the project to get it done so we can be all in, but in small chunks at a time versus months. Some people call me intense, overdo things, go too far or not enough, don't care, and being insensitive. That, to me, is a vital explanation of all in or all out. And at times we got to try and moderate ourselves so that we don't seem intense, that we don't care being insensitive, but at the same time, these are our traits. If we're interested, we go all in, we become intense. Other people will perceive of what we're doing as overdoing it, and we go too far. Well, you didn't have to go that far. The project had to be done that quickly. Well, you know what? In our minds, in our brains, for us to get it done, it has to be done this quickly and intense, or it'll never get done. Or I'll lose interest and just not get it done, right? And then if you have people saying, not enough, don't care, insensitive, or you're not doing enough, you don't care, or you're insensitive. Well, that's probably because I'm not really interested in the task or the project, or the task or project is too large for our brain that it gets overwhelmed and we procrastinate and delay. So we need help to chunk it down. But I think a lot of times it has to do with the fact I don't really care about it. And if I don't care about it, then whose importance is it? Is it my importance? If it was my importance, I would care for it. I'll find the energy to do it. But if it's someone else's importance and you're not really invested or believe in it, it's hard for you to track and get involved in that. And then just listen to here. This is the big thing. ADHD brain, if it's an internal importance, no problem. If it's a secondary importance, as they call it, or an external importance, it's very hard for us to get motivated if we don't agree or buy into it. So, your boss says, or your client says, it's got to be done by the 13th. If you're not interested in the project, the 13th is going to come up pretty quickly and then becomes an urgent matter. And then you're going to rush through the job. Or if it's important to someone else, like if you got a boss or an employee or whatnot, or a supervisor saying, I need this done by a certain date, or this job is important for so-and-so. Well, it's not really important to me. It's not interesting. It's not novel. It's not challenging. Very hard for me to get into it. So, and it's very hard to moderate when you don't care, all out. It's very hard to moderate when you're all in, very intrigued, interesting, challenging. So anyways, I highly recommend the book Faster Than Normal. It's written very well from the point of view of the entrepreneurial mindset, ADHD brain. And it's very tongue-in-cheek, in your face, not necessarily in your face, but just, like you said, moderation. We don't have it. Now, since we don't have it, there are ways we can trick our brains to do things. Like for me, I noticed I was moderating my tasks, projects into smaller stages and steps so I can be all in, so I can get it done. All in for that small stage chunk down portion. Now, what I just realized myself as an engineer, professional engineer, I'm really good at project management. I'm known for project management. I'm known for keeping people on track. But with this diagnosis and what I realized over the last couple of years, I'll share you a secret. I hate project management. I'm sick to my stomach. I make a lot of good money. I'm really great at it. It's an excellent skill. I have no passion or care for it. It frustrates me because I got to keep on top of things and it's boring and repetitive. That's to me. So that was a big recollection. So now I try to moderate. Now I delegate those tasks to other people and they let me know what I need to do and when, and in smaller chunks. I get an assistant to help me to say, hey, we should chunk this down. By this date, do this. Someone else creates the plan for me and I follow it. And actually, if they're smart, you like a little bit of urgency, then if you create smaller chunks of tasks to be urgent, you'll get it done quicker. Awesome. Everyone wins. But as long as the project moves forward, it does have these big, large gaps, and then we got final minutes to get her done. I hope this was beneficial. If it was, if you think someone else can benefit from this, please share it with them. Please subscribe to the podcast where you get your podcasts. Please share comments. Please leave us a rating. It'd be greatly appreciated. It just helps us getting out there. And I appreciate you listening and your time. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care now.
Thank you for listening to the Impulsive Thinker podcast. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion for the show, please visit theimpulsivethinker.com. The Impulsive Thinker podcast is produced by Tactical Breakthroughs and hosted by Andre Brisson. Remember, ADHD is only a part of you, not all of you.